Hey Bobcat Nation, we're all doing our part by staying home, but there's still so much going on in Bobcat Nation. Stay right there, because I'm taking you inside Quinnipiac. I'm Maggie Smith, and welcome to the first episode of Inside Quinnipiac. We hope that you and your family and friends are healthy and well, and as we help flatten the curve, each week we'll share with you what's been going on in Bobcat Nation, share interesting events, and showcase members of the Quinnipiac family. Now, as you can tell, I'm filming in my parents' basement. Dad, what are you doing? Dad!
What's going on?
I'm filming here. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Just like at Quinnipiac, laundry here is free. Let's get started with Bobcat Nation in review. Over the past 11 years, the Big Event, Quinnipiac's largest day of community service, has been a way for the Bobcat family to say thank you to surrounding communities. Now, while the coronavirus threw a wrench into things, it made this year's Big Event even bigger. Rather than one big day, the event turned into one big week as students, faculty, staff, and alumni across the nation looked to perform 2,020 acts of kindness in their communities. Plants were left on neighbors' doorsteps, protective masks were made, and positive notes were spread in some unconventional ways. Even though I can't quite dance, tons of people did this past Thursday at QTHON, Quinnipiac's annual dance marathon that raises money for patients and families of Connecticut Children's Medical Center in Hartford. While we weren't able to get our groove on in the rec center like years past, the marathon was held virtually, including everyone's favorites such as the morale dance and connecting with miracle children and their families.
Hey QTHON, it's Joanna. I love you and I'm rooting for you, and get some money for that hospital of mine.
Well, there's a lot of great things coming up at Quinnipiac this week. Let's check in with our events correspondent, Paige Meyer, to check out this week's Q5.
Hey guys, as we're zooming into another week, it's time to hit the virtual quad with this week's Q5. It's Greek Week, filled with multiple events like a social media challenge, the Greek and Goddess pageant, and more. Unwind with some restorative yoga on Wednesday the 15th. Looking for new recipes and way to keep your food fresh for longer? On Wednesday, you can connect with Quinnipiac's executive chef, Chris. I have spirit, yes I do. Bobcat Nation, how about you? Show your Bobcat spirit by taking part in Bobcat Fridays, hosted by Quinnipiac Student Government Association. Take part in the Bobcat Strong 5K next Saturday and Sunday. With 1 week to prep, I butter, put down the cookies, and start training. To access these events and so many more, take a scroll down the virtual quad at qu.edu/BQ. Stay happy and healthy, Bobcats. Back to you, Mags.
Being stuck at home definitely makes it harder to eat healthy and keep up with your nutrition. Joining me in this week's Bobcat Chat is Dana White, a clinical associate professor of athletic training and sports medicine, as well as a sports dietitian, about tips for staying healthy during the pandemic. So hey Dana, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Maggie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so as a part of your job at Quinnipiac, you've been having to communicate with students since being home. So what have they been saying to you?
I've been hearing all kinds of things. I think people are confused and stressed out. I think some of the questions I get the most are, what should I be eating? What should I not be eating? I think a lot of us are doing a little, some overthinking.
Yeah, so I just read this New York Times article. And in the article, it talked about how people are buying a lot more items on the shelf, soups and stuff like that. However, some of those things can be a little unhealthy. So what are your ideas for when it comes to things like that to maybe make those things a little healthier?
So, I read that article too, and, people are buying all these processed foods because they have a long shelf life and they're affordable, and I totally get it. But some of them also have a reputation for not being so healthy. But I actually think that you can make them healthy. You can really boost the nutrition in them, right? So, take a can of tomato soup, add some spinach, add some chickpeas to it, there's little ways that even like boxed mac and cheese, right? A lot of kids are eating that, in their dorm rooms anyway, right? But if you could add some grilled chicken or add some vegetables to it, throw in some frozen broccoli or something, and all of a sudden you have something that is much, much better for you and more satisfying. So it's kind of a win-win.
Definitely. And then there's also things, apps that people have been using
whether it be someone having a Fitbit or other apps tracking calories. What are your thoughts on using that?
So there's, I mean, we're spending a lot more time with technology now, right? And I get the appeal to it. I think, I don't know, I think some of those apps are better than others. I think if it increases your anxiety and makes you more hyper focused on your eating, then that's maybe not such a good thing. I do like a lot of the apps that help track your movement though. Right, because
Mhm.
we are spending more time sitting in front of screens right now. So if there's, those apps that might, kind of ping you and say, hey, it's maybe time to get up and walk around. I don't think that I like those a lot, or the ones that help track your sleep, right? Because our schedules are a little bit different now. So I think some of them can be really good to use to your advantage. If you're going to go down some sort of rabbit hole and kind of hyper focus on your nutrients, I think there's better things to do with our time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I think they can be good and bad. Just don't get too caught up in them.
Yeah. And I guess students probably just want to know during this time, it can be easy to kind of just eat whatever you have in the house, kind of get into some unhealthier habits. What tips and tricks might you have for students? Should students be eating in virtual class? What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. I think one of the best things that you can do in this kind of virtual classroom world that we're all in right now, and when we're all home, is to try to stick to a schedule, right? So have breakfast at the same time every day, or make sure that you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Have that. I think that consistency feels good right now. So if there is some conflict with your classes, that I would say, mute. Don't forget to mute yourself because no one wants to hear you crunching, in your class. As long as your professor's okay with it, I say it's okay to eat in class. And along with that, if it helps you stick to a schedule, if you have a day you have 5 classes in a row, which a lot of students do, you don't really get much of a break. Like you need to fuel that, so it's okay to eat as long as your professor says it's okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about nutrition. This has been so great.
Right. Thanks for having me. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
This week, the Bobcats of the Week are many students, faculty, and alumni in our schools of nursing, medicine, and health sciences who are currently working on the front lines to help flatten the curve and protect our communities. We thank you all for being true examples of what it means to be Bobcat Strong. Bobcat Nation is Bobcat Strong. Nominate a Bobcat of the Week by tagging Quinnipiac U and using the hashtags #BobcatStrong and #BobcatNation. That's all I have for this week's episode of Inside Quinnipiac. Make sure to tune in next week. Stay healthy, safe, and Bobcat Strong.